Hey everyone, and welcome back to Freaky Stories. I'm Adrian,
I'm Julia.
and we are so ready for some seriously unbelievable tales.
Oh yeah, today we've got two stories that are gonna leave you wondering what in the world is going on.
Are you ready to hear about two regular guys who become quantum physics rock stars?
Hit me with it.
Okay, picture this. We've got Ben and Raj, just your average dudes who love a good bet.
A bet that backfires spectacularly.
Exactly. They end up losing to their super brainy friends, and the consequence, you guessed it.
Attending a prestigious science conference.
Oh, but not just any conference.
This one's all about quantum physics.
A subject they know absolutely nothing about.
So what do?
Well, they do what any self-respecting dude in their situation would do. They cram some Wikipedia.
Throw on some glasses to look the
They
part.
try to blend in with the actual geniuses.
Oh, I can only imagine the awkwardness.
Oh, it's a scene, all right. They find themselves on stage, a sea of brilliant minds staring them down, and Raj starts spouting random science fiction jargon.
I'm talking wormholes, multiverses, the whole shebang.
Meanwhile, Ben's up there fiddling with equipment, pretending he knows what he's doing.
This sounds like a recipe for disaster.
You'd think so, right? But here's where things take a turn for the utterly freaky.
Oh boy.
While Raj is rambling on about theoretical physics, Ben accidentally triggers a lab accident.
Wait, a real accident?
Oh yeah, I'm talking explosions, sparks flying, some weird glowing dew, the whole works.
And the audience thinks.
They think it's intentional.
No way.
Oh yeah, they're convinced Ben and Raj have just made a groundbreaking discovery.
The irony is palpable.
The applause is deafening. They're bombarded with questions, and suddenly these two guys who can barely explain what an atom is are being hailed as scientific geniuses.
So what do? They can't just come clean and admit it was all an accident, can they?
Nope, they're trapped.
Oh, this is getting good.
Suddenly they've got venture capitalists throwing money at them, contracts piling up, and they're being pressured to recreate their experiment for the world to see.
Talk about pressure.
Oh, they are freaking out.
Oh, God.
But they're also kind of enjoying the ride.
Living the high life.
Exactly. Being treated like celebrities. And the best part.
No one suspects a thing.
Nope, they're pulling it off. The climax of this whole crazy situation is the grand unveiling of their invention.
Okay, this is it. The moment of truth.
Massive auditorium press from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
The who's who of the scientific community. It's showtime, and Ben and Raj are still clueless about how their invention actually works.
They're gonna crash and burn.
You'd think so, right? But get ready for this, because against all odds, the machine works flawlessly.
No way. You're kidding.
I'm serious. It
Yep.
does whatever flux-related thing it's supposed to do. The lights are flashing, the data's flowing, and Ben and Raj are basking in the glory.
They've become accidental rock stars of the scientific world.
And the craziest part,
What's that?
no one, not even Ben and Raj, ever figures out how their invention actually works.
Wow, talk about faking it till you make it.
Now that's what I call a freaky story.
Okay, but wait till you hear about our next tale.
Oh, this one's a doozy.
Give me a hint.
It involves an unexpected inheritance, some accidental magic, and a whole lot of chaos.
I'm intrigued.
Let me introduce you to Max and Will. Two ordinary roommates living their ordinary lives until they receive a rather peculiar inheritance from their great Aunt Hortense.
Okay, what does she leave them? A dusty old mansion filled with secrets?
Even weirder white, pointy hats, flowing robes, and a mysterious book written in a language they can't even decipher.
Sounds like my kind of inheritance.
At first they think it's some kind of elaborate prank.
But I bet it's much more than that.
You bet it is. One evening, curiosity gets the better of Will. He starts flipping through the book, tracing his finger over these strange symbols, and bam, magic happens.
Magic. What kind of magic?
Well, Max suddenly finds himself sporting a floor-length white beard.
Whoa, we're talking Gandalf-level beard here.
And Will, he accidentally manages to give himself electrical powers?
Hold on, they activate real magic just by touching this book.
Oh, it's real, all right. And they're completely unprepared. They have no idea how to control their newfound powers. And the only guide they have is this book they can't even read.
This is where the real fun begins.
You said it. They try to figure out spells, which results in burnt food exploding appliances and some seriously awkward encounters with their neighbors.
I can only imagine the chaos.
But things take a darker turn when they start noticing some strange figures lurking around their house.
Uh-oh, what kind of figures?
They're not sure. They catch glimpses of men in suits, shadowy figures disappearing around corners, and they even hear whispers about government agents and rival wizards.
So now they're dealing with unwanted magic powers and mysterious stalkers.
Exactly. Max and Will quickly realize they're in way over their heads.
They probably just want their normal lives back.
You got it. They decide to try and return their magic.
Return their magic? How do you even do that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? They have no clue.
So they turn to the internet.
Of course. They start scouring the internet for any information about magic spells, anything that can help them get rid of their powers. And that's when they stumble upon a cryptic message on some obscure online forum about a shop that deals in all things magical.
Seems promising.
They track down this shop. Imagine a dusty old building tucked away in some forgotten corner of the city, cobwebs everywhere. Strange smells.
And inside,
They find a wizened old shopkeeper straight out of a fantasy novel.
does she have the answers they're looking for?
Well, she doesn't take returns, but she offers them an interesting alternative,
Go on.
an exchange.
An exchange? What does that even mean?
Instead of taking their magic away, she gives them these sleek silver devices. Think Apple meets Merlin.
Okay, I'm listening.
She claims these devices will allow them to control their magic, more precise spells, less property damage. Magic for dummies, if you will.
Interesting. So what happens next? Do the devices actually work? Do they finally manage to control their magical mayhem?
That, my friends, is the big question. Do Max and Will get a handle on their powers, or do these devices just lead them down an even weirder and more freaky path?
We'll have to wait and see.
Exactly. Stay tuned as we take a closer look at these freaky stories.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Don't go anywhere.
It's wild how both these stories play with this idea of being competent, and how much luck plays into it all.
Yeah, totally. Like with Ben and Raj,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in over their heads at that quantum physics conference.
Oh, absolutely. But then they just ride this wave of lucky accidents.
And convince everyone they're experts.
It makes you wonder about how we decide someone's an expert, right? Especially with something as complex as quantum physics.
They fool everyone. Scientists, investors, media, everyone. It's kind of mind-boggling.
And then on the other side, you've got Max and Will, who stumble into actual magic but have zero clue how to use it.
Like kids with fireworks.
Exactly. All that enthusiasm, but no idea what they're doing. It's hilarious, but also kind of scary. Power without responsibility.
1 minute it's a Gandalf beard, the next they're almost burning down their apartment. It's chaos.
And then there's those mysterious figures lurking around. That adds a whole other layer of suspense.
Who are they? What do they want? Are they government agents covering up magic, rival wizards?
Yeah.
It's a total mystery.
Keeps you guessing.
Okay, so let's say you're Ben and Raj, right? You've got to keep up this science lie. What would you do?
Honestly, I think I'd have to come clean eventually. Living that lie, especially with such high stakes, would be way too stressful.
Yeah, the fear of being exposed would eat me alive. But then again, they're living the dream, right?
Yeah.
Fame, fortune recognition. It's tempting.
It is. But wouldn't it feel better to earn that success, through actual knowledge and hard work?
For sure. But what about Max and Will? If you suddenly inherited magical powers, would you keep them or try to get rid of them?
Ooh, that's a tough one. The idea of magic is so cool. Teleporting, conjuring things, controlling the elements.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
But then there's the chance of things going wrong. Turning your neighbor into a toad or teleporting into a wall.
Yeah, that would be bad. I think I'd be terrified of accidentally hurting someone with magic. It's a huge responsibility.
And with those mysterious figures watching them, they can't afford to make any mistakes.
Which brings us back to those silver devices they got from the shopkeeper. Do you think they'll actually work? Will they control the magic or just cause more trouble?
I don't know. It feels almost too easy, right? Like a quick fix.
Hmm.
I wonder if there are any hidden consequences. Remember this shopkeeper? She's mysterious.
Yeah.
We don't know her motives or where those devices came from.
Maybe she's testing them, watching how they use this new kind of magic.
Or maybe she's using them as bait to lure those mysterious figures.
Okay, now we're getting into conspiracy theory territory.
I love it. It adds another layer to this already crazy story.
We're stuck in this magical web of intrigue with no idea who to trust. But here's the thing. Max and Will, they're not just giving up.
No, they're not. They've shown they're resilient and resourceful.
They adapt quickly, and even though they make mistakes, they learn from them.
They're like accidental heroes. They didn't ask for this magical adventure, but they're dealing with it the best they can.
Beards, electrical surges, and all.
And maybe those futuristic devices will give them what they need to outsmart those mysterious figures and figure out what's going on with their inheritance.
I hope so. We're all rooting for them, right? They're the underdogs. They stumbled into this crazy situation, and somehow they're making it work.
It's what makes their story so interesting. It reminds us that even when things are extraordinary, unbelievable, even freaky, we can adapt and learn and maybe even come out on top.
That's a great point. So what do you think about those mysterious figures? What do they represent in Max and Will's story? Are they a threat or maybe something else?
It's like they symbolize this hidden world of magic that Max and Will have entered, a world with its own rules and dangers.
It's like they're being watched, judged, tested.
Exactly. And with each encounter, they have to adapt and learn and make choices that will shape their future in this magical world.
It's so fascinating. What about you? What do you think is the deeper meaning behind these stories?
I think they both tap into our love for the unknown, the extraordinary, the things that challenge how we see the world. They make us wonder if there are hidden forces at play, whether it's quantum physics or magic.
And they show us that even when faced with the unbelievable, we can adapt and learn and find our way, even if it's through mistakes and crazy situations.
Speaking of crazy situations, what do you make of the shopkeeper giving Max and Will those devices? Was it a genuine act of help or something else?
It's a good question. It seems like she's trying to help, but her motives are so unclear. I feel like she's playing a bigger game, and Max and Will are just pawns.
It's like she's testing them, seeing how they handle this power and responsibility.
Or maybe she's using them to draw out those mysterious figures, setting up a confrontation for her own reasons.
No, it's that thought.
It's also tangled, and we have no idea where it's leading.
But that's what makes it so exciting, right? The thrill of the unknown, the suspense, the pure entertainment of seeing these characters go through these bizarre situations.
It reminds us that reality can be stranger than fiction. And sometimes the most amazing stories are the ones we least expect.
Before we move on, I want to hear from you, our listeners. Which story grabs you more? The accidental scientific genius or the reluctant wizards in a world of magic?
Share your thoughts, your theories, your wildest guesses. We'll be back in part 3 to break down the final chapters of these mind-blowing tales.
And who knows, maybe we'll even solve some of the mysteries that are still hanging.
Until then, stay freaky.
Welcome back to Freaky Stories. It feels like we're hanging off a cliff after those last 2 stories.
Right. Let's start with Ben and Raj, our accidental quantum physics rock stars. They pulled off that big demonstration. Their machine worked perfectly. They're instant celebrities. But they're still living a lie.
A lie built on luck and a whole lot of scientific jargon.
Exactly. So can they actually keep this up, or is it all going to fall apart?
You've got a background in the history of science. Have you ever seen anyone pull off a deception like this for a long time?
It's so rare. The whole point of science is to test and verify. Someone's going to dig deeper, start asking questions, want proof, especially when the invention is supposed to be world-changing.
You can't just say quantum flux thingy and expect people to believe you forever. Sooner or later, Ben and Raj are going to have to face reality.
Unless they actually figure out how their invention works.
No, that would be a twist. 2 guys who know nothing about quantum physics accidentally make a real breakthrough.
Talk about turning a lie into a legacy. That would be a true freaky stories ending. But until then, it's a risky game they're playing.
And we all know how risky games usually end. Let's check in with Max and Will, our reluctant wizards.
Oh man, those two, they traded their ancient spellbook for those high-tech magic devices. No more trying to read those weird symbols, just point and zap.
Magic for the modern age.
But is it enough to keep them safe? Those mysterious figures are still out there.
Yeah, they didn't just disappear. They're probably watching Max and Will trying to figure out what they're up to.
Which makes me wonder, are those devices traceable? Could they be sending out some kind of magical signal that's attracting attention?
It's possible. Remember that shopkeeper? She's all about magic and clearly knows more than she's saying.
Maybe she has her own plans. Maybe she's testing Max and Will to see what they do with this new magic.
Or maybe she's using them as bait to draw those mysterious figures to her.
Okay, now we're getting into some serious, freaky stories territory.
It's a magical mystery. We don't know who to trust, but Max and Will, they're not just sitting around waiting.
That's true. They've actually been pretty resilient and resourceful.
They adapt quickly, and even when they mess up, they learn from it.
They're becoming accidental heroes. They didn't want this magical adventure, but they're facing it head on.
Beards, electrical surges, and all. And who knows, maybe those futuristic devices will give them the advantage they need to outsmart those mysterious figures and uncover the truth about their inheritance.
I hope so. We're all rooting for them, right? The underdogs who stumbled into this crazy world and are somehow making it work.
That's what makes their story so great. It reminds us that even when things get extraordinary, unbelievable, even freaky, we can adapt and learn and maybe even come out on top.
And that's what we love about freaky stories, right? The unexpected, the unbelievable, the things that make us question everything.
We've traveled from accidental genius to reluctant wizards, exploring the twists and turns of lies, luck, and magic.
And it makes you realize sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. The best stories are the ones we never see coming.
So as we wrap up this episode of Freaky Stories, remember, the journey doesn't end here. These stories, they stick with you. They make you think about the world in a different way.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop asking questions.
And until next time, stay freaky.